As the stay-at-home advisory in Massachusetts has now been extended to May 4th, there are no doubt challenges of living in close quarters, working and going to school, with limited options of outside activities. Social distancing has no doubt caused stress and anxiety for many, but for the victims of domestic violence and child abuse, the situation can be much more serious. Carolee McGrath spoke with Dr. Stephen Boos, the director of Baystate Health Family Advocacy Center, to learn more about the potential risk and the help available.
There are three things that are going on right now that could contribute to child abuse risk. The first is that everyone is under stress. Everyone is worried about their loved ones, about catching the virus themselves. Many of us are under economic stress, some just because of investment performance, if we're lucky. Some of us are losing our jobs or having our hours cut and are dealing with that and not sure quite how they're going to make the rent. And stress always makes it more difficult to deal with anything that's potentially irritating, as children sometimes can be. The second is that we're being asked to stay in our homes together a lot more, and that just increases the amount of contact, and too much time together can start out as a blessing, but can end up getting up on your nerves, and that can be a trouble. The final thing is that we don't have other neighbors and other caring people, such as teachers, in contact with children so much right now. It's all very remote, if it happens at all. And those are the eyes and the ears. Those are the people who see a mark on a child or see an emotional change in a child. And I would say that's true for adults as well when there's intimate partner violence. It's those community members who see that something is a little different, something is wrong, and they're there to inquire. They're there to ask, to check, sometimes to make a report, sometimes just to reach out and help and make a difference.
What are you seeing as far as patterns in other countries as far as abuse goes?
So I'm seeing really vague references to increase in domestic violence and child abuse. Mostly what I'm hearing, though, is people who are just worried about what we're doing. I cannot say, and I want to be absolutely clear, that I'm not seeing a lot of more requests for my service. I'm not seeing more kids in the hospital with injuries. I'm not being called to the emergency department for broken bones or bruises more. And DCF has to reach out to me in different ways now. So I do get some phone calls that way, but I would not say my volume is increased. So right now, I think we're having this conversation at the right time because we're able to talk about what can we do to get through this successfully rather than trying to put, things back into Pandora's box.
Now, a University of Michigan study found exactly what you're saying, that parents are more stressed, that parents are reporting that they are yelling more. Kind of no surprise because everybody is trying to take that role of parent, teacher. They're worried about their jobs, and all of those things contained in a household in close quarters can be really difficult.
I agree. It's challenging to be a mom or a dad. It's challenging to be a teacher. It's challenging to be a nursemaid. And then take all of those and put them all three into one package at a time when you're worried about your mother, your grandmother, who are far away and much older, when you're worried about yourself, where you're worried about finding toilet paper in the supermarket. And it just gets to be a really difficult package.
So what is your advice for parents who are feeling stressed? And certainly that speaks to so many people out there right now. It's an understandable feeling. But what is your advice in the midst of this? We have the stay-at-home advisory. How do you kind of work through that?
First, I think that people need to build a new structure for their families and their homes. We talk a lot about scheduling, that when we're managing children's difficult behaviors and we're managing a complicated workload, that scheduling yourself is very helpful. So we should be building schedules that have us getting up at a reliable time. We should have schedules that have us going through our morning routines, just as if we're going to work or to school. We need to build into our schedules time to do that schoolwork. Now, sometimes the school will tell you we have a meeting online at a certain time, but other times they're just giving you work to do, and you should pick a time to do that. You have to break that up into small components. Some kids can work for a sustained period of time at a desk, but everybody's ability to do that is going to be decreased by stress. And so even your top-notch students are probably going to have to take more breaks, going to have to chunk things into little bits. Your younger children may just have to do 2 math problems and then have a break to do something fun, right? We have to build time for fun in there, and we have to figure out what fun there is that we can do in the midst of social isolation. I strongly recommend that if people can safely get outside when the weather is nice, or even if the weather's not so nice and they have a nice raincoat, getting out there in the natural light, surrounded by the natural environment, is a great thing to do, and you should plan for that. But of course, you have to take social isolation into account and safety.
Right. I think a lot of people, and I'm sure you've noticed this as well, there are so many families walking now together that you would never see typically do that as a family. I mean, people are really trying to get outside.
So sunlight is good for you. Being outside is good for you. Being in contact with nature is good for you. It lifts your mood. It makes you feel better. And then just that activity of walking or other exercise. So when you're in the home, if you're going to do yoga together, or you're going to sign on to some site that is giving you little workouts, mini workouts to do. Don't get, you don't have to beat up on yourself and get too intense, but exercise is also good for you. It lifts the spirit. There's the mind-body connection, and it just helps you do better. So once we've built our time schedule, we've got our wake-up time, our work time, our spiritual time, we've got our exercise time, we've got play time, and we've got a bedtime with a bedtime ritual. We also probably want to structure our physical environments. People need a place to do their homeschooling, and it needs to be free from distractions. So the TV needs to be off, the radio needs to be off. We should have a free, clear environment, just clearing the kitchen table if you don't have a desk, and have that. And probably if dad's working from home or mom's working from home, they need their space to do their work from home. All right, so we need to build a structured environment. Now, some of my people live in really crowded environments, and that's difficult. So one place may have to do multiple tasks. Perhaps it's scheduled for the kitchen table to be where we eat together at breakfast and dinner, and then it's scheduled to be little Johnny's working area at this time, Mommy's working area at another, and little Susie's working time at yet a third. And so we might be kind of assigning areas to different people at different times, but we're planning that. So there's no fighting and struggling for it, and we know and we can count on it. Regularity, this is a time we can't count on much. So regularity and being able to count on things makes a big difference.